Remain still dreaming. Hello.
Still gleaming. Hi.
Hi. Hello. Welcome back to the Roaring Bulldog podcast, where we've gone Qatar-azy for the World Cup.
Yeah. See what you did there?
Yeah. And before we start, I just want to give a plug to a new podcast that I'm doing, or we're doing. It's called Blood on the Sand, Qatar 2022. It's World Cup Diaries. Please subscribe to that on your podcast player. That would be very helpful. We're talking about the World Cup, and my name is Adonis, and you know me as @the on Twitter. It's a very good hello from me. Joining us is the Prince of Darkness, Big Mac at Ewan Metcalf.
Boys, how are you doing? Okay.
Very, very good, thank you, Mac. And with the testicles down to his knees.
What?
Sorry. That's an off-air joke. Barney from the internet at BarneyLUFC21.
Oi, all right. Should have been a little bit more high pitched then.
Oh God!
It's going to start already. Do you know what it is? It's because I must admit the blood on the sand's really good, mate. Well done. How professional is he on that? And it's quiet and dignified. And now he's coming in. He's going to start talking about twisted knackers and fucking torsion and Conservative MPs having their knackers cheese grated for pleasure. It's going to go mad, isn't it? It's going to go mad.
This is my outlet, you see. Now I've got the professional one down, or as professional as it's ever going to get, pretty much. There's still some
very professional, mate. It looks really good. Every time I know it's you, and I see you when you're talking, but I sometimes see Louis Theroux.
Yeah, it's not the first time that's been mentioned. You'll be surprised to know.
I think I've said it more than once, but just every so often I think, is this Louis Theroux or is it Donny? I just can remind myself. But it's very good, mate. Well done. Really proud of you.
Thank you very much. Well, I'll take that as a compliment because Louis Theroux is...
he's great. I love Louis Theroux.
I wouldn't say one of my idols. I don't worship him. I'm not that weird. I'm not as weird as the people he interviews or goes to see. What he does is very good, very, very good, though. I was actually talking about it the other day. He makes himself part of the interview, which is weird. You know, I think normally when people interview, they've got the phone with them or they got the camera on them, and they're just interviewing this one person. Whereas he's got a cameraman, so him awkwardly walking into this, you know, wherever it is, Nazi household or whatever, and then it's. You know. Anyway,
I like how it's more mainstream. He's doing like he did what's the name? Not Catherine Tate. Oh my God! Honestly, I'm getting old, man. I keep forgetting people's names. It's Stormzy and Bear Grylls, and it's quite good.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
Less controversial, but quite insightful. Sorry, Barney.
I like how he plays dumb in interviews and he leads the person into a certain question and they're just open to it then all of a sudden he pounces then. I like how he does that.
Yep.
Oh, really? Right, okay. And then next thing, bang.
Yeah, there's a fantastic podcast, I mean, apart from The Roaring Peacock and Blood on the Sand, of course, called The Coming Storm on BBC Sounds. And there's the latest episode where he's interviewed, and the host of that talks about Louis Theroux as having a face that says, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And it does exactly what you said, Barney. It's there was a show called Enough Rope years ago in Australia. With Andrew Denton, and that's what it is, isn't it? Give people enough rope to hang themselves with. Right, Nora says Qatar-azy. Lol. Liam B, hi lads. All three back together. Leeds. Paul Homeboy, good to see you people. Great to see you, Paul. Thanks for your continued support on all of the live streams. Costa Rica may have got beat 7, but their number 15 Calvo is a very cool customer, says Bandit. Bandy with the analysis there.
Yeah, for sure.
And Nora says that the Roaring Through podcast.
I've got to say, I got a great stat from that game, the Spain game, that Spain completed 6 more passes in the first half of that game than Wickham have in League One in November.
Wow.
Brilliant. Okay, now.
That's a plug for Wickham. Hello to all the Wickham listeners and fans.
There's a guy called Duncan Alexander on Twitter that mentioned it, but that's brilliant. In half a game of football, Spain have passed the ball more than a team in the League One have.
Wow, yes, this is a great comment here. Ewan is the stat man.
I'm not going to make a habit of it. It's back to the usual bullshit now.
Right, excellent, excellent. You enjoying the World Cup so far? Are you actually Qatar-azy? Are you World Cup? Have you got the World Cup fever? Do you need a cool towel on your forehead?
That's up to my learned colleague Barney, who's not been on for a while. Nice to see you back, Barney. So go on, Barnes.
At first, I was like, "Oh, it's during the winter. It's going to be shit. I want to be outside in the sun watching it." And obviously, the other issues that we're going to discuss later on. But I've been on early this week, so it feels like I finished work at 3, so I feel like a kid again, getting home and watching 3 or 4 games back one after another. So it's just been quite good to watch football when you get home after work. And some of the football's been enjoyable. Some of it's just been absolutely bang average. I mean, the first game, the Qatar game, was absolutely awful. It looked like some sort of Sunday League team was coming out. Spain today just looked absolutely out of this world. Some really, really good football. Back to the old Spain, and just passing teams to death. And yeah, it's been enjoyable. It's been better than I thought it would be, but it's quite glaring obvious that the stadium's out full, considering they're saying that they've sold out more than what the capacity of the ground is, which is quite, I don't know how they manage that.
The Ridgedale School of Accounting.
There's been a lot of impressive feats in this World Cup so far. That's definitely up there with one of them. Ewan, enjoying the World Cup?
Do you know what? I love World Cups. I don't care. I'm the opposite to Barney, where, when it's summer and you can be outside and doing other things, it's like, do I want to be in watching a football match? You've got no choice. You're in anyway. The weather's terrible. You can just sit and enjoy football. I mean, I think I've done really well, actually, because I've missed all the shit games. I've had to keep thinking like you. I'm like a kid, Barney. Like, I'm going to knock off and go watch that game, Argentina game, and I'm going to knock off and go. I'm not going to go to work this morning. And then I think, shit, it's my business. I'm lying to myself. I'm lying to myself and making excuses not to go and do the job that it's my business to do. So,
you're looking at this month's profits, and you're getting furious. Who's done this? Who hasn't been doing work? Oh, fuck, it's me.
When my accountant says, "What happened in November and early December 2022?" Oh, fuck, those profits were down. There was no work. There was no industry at all. Oh, there was a World Cup on. That's right. The only thing I've not resorted to yet is starting drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning. But, I'll get there by the time it gets to knockout games. But you know what? I love it. I think the romanticism of the World Cup is brilliant. Let's forget about, for now, because we've mentioned it enough, and you're doing a brilliant piece on it every day, which is great, Donny, on the Blood on the Sand podcast. But, let's just enjoy it now, because the romanticism of Japan, Germany, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, the groups that haven't even kicked off yet, with like Portugal, Uruguay, Ghana, all this clash of cultures and colours and kind of spectators and styles of football. There's a saying in boxing, the styles make fights, and you take the Argentina, Saudi Arabia game, completely contrasting styles and ability, made for an absolutely wonderful game of football. And there's been games like the Denmark game and some of the other games where you can tell they don't want to lose that first game, because it's hard to qualify, isn't it, if you do lose your first game. But you know what, there has been some. I thought England were great, France, the Germany, Japan game, which we watched in the cabins at work today. So the other thing is we've got tellies all in the porta cabin. In our porta cabins, we've got television. So when we're working and when things are happening, we've got the games on. So together, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And we'll come on to some of the negatives, but love the World Cup. It's great. What's not to love about it? You've got 3 football matches a day. You can watch one in the morning while you're sort of on conference calls in the background, one in the afternoon, and then one in the evening. You don't even have to speak to your kids or wife.
Indeed. There is one option, of course, if you do miss it. I mean, you could go to Qatar. It's very sunny, very hot there. It's almost like summer. No one wants to do that.
Cheap as well.
Cheap. Is it?
Oh yeah.
Really.
What were you paying for
accommodation?
a pint? You've gone to non-league football, haven't you, recently? What were you paying for a pint?
£4 a pint it was. £4 a pint.
£4. So I went to the Angel Inn a few years ago. It was £1.80.
What was that in the 70s?
No, recently.
The Angel Inn
2015, 2016.
Down the little alleyway.
Yeah, down that little, definitely not suspect alleyway.
It's about £1.85 a pint now.
Is it?
It's got it, yeah.
Jeez, inflation.
It's a Sam Smith's place, isn't it? It's a Ingerbrow and all that stuff. It's all the knock your head off stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. Germany lost against Japan. What? Says Nora. Nora's just getting back from work. They certainly did. The excitement for the World Cup is palpable. Oh. Palpable is a fantastic word, isn't it?
We haven't even got to the knockout bits are so exciting and so like sort of at knife edge stuff. But we haven't even got there yet, and I'm already like, I just love some of the clashes. Like I say, I thought Saudi Arabia Argentina that's a proper World Cup game. That just the way it looked, the kits were great. The colours in the stadium were great. Some of the the fact that the Argentinians got hushed is always good. And
the Saudi guy running out of his house and chucking a door at a wall, and another guy running out of his house and shooting an AK-47 into the air. Like, I mean, this is a different culture. You wouldn't see that in Leeds, would you?
We've all done it. Oh, I don't know. Certain parts of Leeds, possibly.
Hernandez scores against Swansea in the 89th minute, and and Ewan runs out of his house onto the street with an AK-47. Kalashnikov.
Yeah. Uzi 9mm. Yeah. Keep under the bed. Just in case. But it's brilliant. I love it. And like I say, I think that the good things like Japan today, Saudi Arabia, the shocks haven't been shocks where they've got a goal and just shut up shop. They've actually deserved it. They've scored, wonderful goals, played really good football, trusted their swing, as we used to say when Bielsa was at Leeds. They've kind of stuck to the way that they played. I mean, Saudi Arabia played such a risky game. It was untrue, that high line and kind of 3 offside goals, but you could argue they timed the offsides perfectly. I mean, I thought it was great. I thought it was so exciting to watch.
Efficient as well. 2 shots on target, 2 goals. That's all you need.
That's all you need.
They only had 3 shots in total. They had 30% possession. They've turned Argentina into mugs. They've made Messi a mug. Pessi, I believe the young kids call it, don't they?
Yeah, Messi, Ronaldo. Yeah.
Never mind Iran. England still won't get out of the group, says Bandy. USA and Wales to play.
I was impressed with USA, actually, the way they played against Wales. And it felt very much like sort of how Marsh wants to play. Very high-intensive football, wanting to win the ball back when they don't have the ball. A lot of counter-pressing. Their goal was very through the middle. There was no one quick passing, players close together. So it was interesting to watch, actually. And I think Wales were lucky to get away with a draw, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Wales changed it up tactically, didn't they, at half-time? And then they looked a lot. They brought Kiefer Moore on and took Dan James off. That seemed to help them. I don't know why.
It's amazing, isn't it? Take Dan James out of the team, everybody seems to do a lot better. 25 million quid to learn that lesson. Fucking hell. Oh dear. That's that's going to be a tarnish on Bielsa's amazing reputation at Leeds, isn't it? That.
Yep. Dan James and Tyler Roberts. See, Bournemouth have turned down Bielsa. Bielsa was keen to go to Bournemouth. Why wouldn't he? Nice little cafes, little grandmas serving him tea. He'd have been striding around in his Bournemouth tracksuit.
On his little electric scooter.
Yeah. Is he?
Because that's where you go retire, isn't it? But it's somewhere to retire, isn't it, Bournemouth?
I can imagine Bielsa on a little electric scooter, maybe the little, a little Newell's Old Boys flag or a little Argentina flag flapping in the...
And a number plate saying MOT.
Right, yeah, flapping in the sea breeze.
Yeah.
MOT NOB. With his fish and chips on a little bench looking out to the sea.
Oh, I'd have loved it. He'd have loved it. And they do the little motorised scooters and bikes just as part of Bournemouth Council's sustainable transport thing. Because we went there and it's great. Just got on the little scooters. He'd have loved that when you get tired of walking. It
would have induced, I feel like, an almost like an inverted Bournemouth 1990 Leeds invasion, where all these Leeds fans go down to Bournemouth, tidy up the place, and leave a bunch of flowers for Bielsa.
Yeah, like the Japanese.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Let's have a look. Not too bothered, but the French and Spanish games make it worth watching, says Liam B. Bandy says, here, Prince of Darkness, the World Championships are great. Yeah, you've been very positive and optimistic, Mac.
Always sometimes, yeah.
It's good to see. It's because we're not talking about Leeds.
Yeah. Amazing, that, isn't it?
England first or United States of America, says Michael Gott. We can get on to some predictions if you want. Is that fun? Predictions? Is that fun?
Really, yeah, isn't
it? Group A, Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, Netherlands. Who do you think?
Say
Netherlands?
Ecuador, Netherlands. I think
In
Senegal would. I'd feel different about. Yeah, I'd feel different about if maybe Mane was with Senegal. Maybe. I think when you the other night. I mean, again, it's still early days yet. They seem to lack that anything up front. I mean, they're usually pretty organised and solid team. But yeah, they didn't seem to have a cutting edge. I thought Netherlands got away with one a bit because they were flattering to deceive, really. I mean, they 2-0 flattered them. Worked great. Yeah, I think if Senegal had had a bit more threat up top, they might have struggled a bit more.
Barney?
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with Netherlands, to be honest. It was a bit of a. I thought Senegal were going to offer a little bit more as well, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, it was good to see the clash of cultures, as I said on the other pod. I like that. Group B: England, Iran, USA, Wales, which is what Michael has asked.
I think England, USA, Wales, Iran.
All right. Agree with that, Mac?
I've got a funny feeling that Wales will get through. I don't know why. I'd have it probably England, Wales, USA, Iran.
Okay.
Kind of might be really up for the USA game as well. So if a team's going to get something out of USA or Wales, I'd probably say it'd be Iran would get something from USA, not the others. So yeah, I'd probably say Wales, but that's probably just something more.
Okay. There's Michael he's got the final. As long as we spank Bale the Chipmunk's Welsh backside, I'll be happy. Michael got. So he doesn't like Wales, so we'll put the USA in there. There you go. Power to the people. Group C, because I can't decide. I was going to decide for you, but I can't decide. Group C, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. Probably the most difficult one to predict.
Yeah, it's very much so.
Because that Saudi Arabia result has blown that game, that group wide open, hasn't it?
And I think you could also tell as well with the game against Mexico and Poland, they were very, very cagey, especially Poland. They didn't really want to come out and attack, and Mexico were all over it, really. They should have got something out of the game, to be honest. But I don't know, is it just a fluke result? But then again, you could probably only need another draw, don't you, for Saudi Arabia to go through. So it could be, I don't know, Argentina, Saudi Arabia. I don't know. It's just
a tight group, that.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, because Mexico and Poland are, of course, they're on 1 point each.
Yeah.
So, if they beat Saudi Arabia, then they'll both be on 4 points. Saudi Arabia will be on 3. And then it comes down to what Argentina do. So it's going to be very, very, very tight.
Argentina can't be that bad twice, can they? You'd like to think, well, you'd think that they might go through. I mean, I could see Saudi Arabia possibly not winning another game, maybe going out, but they've had their moment in the sun. But then again, if they play like they did against, like a Poland I think they were very up for that game. So I'd probably go. I've got a funny thing about maybe Mexico. I think Mexico are better than Poland. So
we're going Argentina
first.
They're going to win both their games, and then Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
because
Saudi Arabia, but yeah.
Realistically, they're not going to score with every single shot on target, are they? I mean, they could, but probably not. They had 3 shots total, and okay. Group D.
Yeah, go on.
France, very easy with Denmark.
Yeah.
Tunisia, Australia. Oh,
Tunisia.
No, we don't want to start a free trial. Oh dear. Well, that's ended that then.
It's good while it lasted. We should have done it quicker. Why are you so professional on Blood on the Sand and you come here and you bring your shit?
I don't do paywalls, Ewan. I'm from Yorkshire after all. Right. What I wanted to talk about was Germany. No disciplinary action. We're being reliably informed by Miguel Delaney, chief football writer at the Independent.
Is that for the hand over the mouth?
Indeed, it was. Yes, indeed, it was.
Everybody should do something like that, though. They can say what they want about the rainbow thing. I think you have to get to a point, but being really honest about it, where you kind of do something or not, and then you get on with the football. Everything's been said that's going to be said. We know, reasonable people know what they know and will make their own judgments. Some reasonable people will continue to say you shouldn't be involved. Politics isn't in football, all that kind of nonsense. But just got to get on with the football at some point. But everybody could have made a statement like that in the first game, couldn't they?
Yeah, the trouble was that FIFA threatened, a 1-match ban, and Harry Kane is not going to. Harry Kane won the Golden Boot at the last World Cup, right? Scored 6 goals. 5 of those goals came in the first 2 games against weak opposition. So he's not gonna. He's not going to risk a 1-match ban, is he?
We could have missed him on the first game because he didn't score anything, did he? So he could have got away with that. But I think that it depends which side. I mean, Roy Keane was quite interesting because he said, "What a statement that would have been though if you'd have gone out, won your game, to miss the next game, and what a statement that would have made." But like you say, I mean, you think about Bale. They've waited 60 odd years to qualify for a World Cup. He's not going to go and get suspended for a game and possibly miss a third of his World Cup, is he? He wants to help Wales qualify. So, yeah, I mean, there was other teams who all backed down on it, so nobody's been brave enough to stick with that. And can I see why? Possibly, yeah. Is it backing down? Is it sort of bottling out a bit? Yeah, it is. It's all those things, but it is what it is. You've got to make a decision to stick with it. But you could have all made a statement like Germany did. But then I've seen a meme today of Japan doing their tactics before the game, and there's a board out and a guy talking and pointing, and then there's Germany doing their tactics, and it's just a picture of the rainbow armband. So can't win, can you?
Yep. Michael Gott says, thing is, was FIFA aware of all this when giving the tournament to Qatar. And you have to imagine, yes, Michael, but they couldn't see past all of the money, the big, enormous piles of money. They couldn't get their head over it. So, have you seen now, Barney? Have you seen that Andrea Radrizzani has been tweeting again?
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
Yeah, his reply. He can't help himself sometimes. I didn't interact with it, but I saw it this morning. I thought, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's already very tetchy about the whole situation, what's happening in Qatar, and he's trying to defend what's happening and he's saying it's such a lovely place. It's amazing, the World Cup here. Everyone's really friendly. I've seen loads of people being friendly with each other. I just think, what are you doing? It's bad enough as it is when he's saying that we've got Adam Forshaw to save the season, but when you start getting involved in about human rights and stuff, you think, mate, just go to bed, get off the wine.
I love getting a lecture from somebody who took Leeds on a post-season tour to Myanmar right after a genocide. And just before another coup. So Professor Simon Chadwick on Twitter has tweeted, what appears to be missing from all of today's euphoria is women and girls. He's talking about the Saudi Arabian celebration. Spoke to a Saudi Arabian woman earlier today. Said she wanted to attend but couldn't get a ticket. I'm interested to know what proportion of Saudi fan base now in Qatar is male. Anyone know? And Andrea Radrizzani has replied, I have seen a lot of females supporting Saudi. You should come over and see with your eyes before to make assumptions. Great vibe around this city. Stadiums and metro. Everything works very well here. People enjoying being together. That's what makes the World Cup special. I mean, maybe he's right. I haven't been to Saudi Arabia, but I would say that I think that the experience of traveling when you're, very rich and multi-millionaire is quite a bit different to, the living conditions of a potentially oppressed section of society that, need men's permission to do anything, basically.
I think the other thing I'd say on that is, he might be right. I think that we have to be really careful here that we don't climb on this kind of bandwagon and judge from afar. And I've said before that until you speak to fans who went and people who are actually there, it's difficult to make a judgment call because we all get caught up in this furore about the way that they've been around the rainbow flag, and of course that's the right thing to say and do, but. Let's be honest, we've said it before, many of these players, look at Iran, people would have had a perception about Iran. Is it the Iranian people? No. Is it often the governments and the rich and the powerful that make the country have the reputation? Absolutely. So let's not judge Qatar based on the actions of a few very rich, wealthy, powerful people, because actually when you look at the video of the Everton lads who met the sheikh and he took them back to his house and got on beers and,
Aziz,
with a lion.
Turn it up, Aziz. Turn it up.
Yeah. I mean, brilliant. And there's going to be those stories that come out of it. So I think we've got to be really careful again of not. It's an easy trap to fall into of judging a Muslim country by our standards again. And I've seen a lot of that said, and I think I would probably agree to a point. If we're all about free speech and if we're all about unfortunately. Dealing with a different culture, a different religion, you've got to accept that there's going to be differences and things you're not going to agree on. So I think we fall into the trap of becoming like them, and being overly judgmental of people who have a different view to us. So I think you've got to be a little bit careful, I think, because it's easy to chastise those countries, particularly where they've got a state-run sort of scenario and run by, often, like I say, very rich and wealthy people. So you need to be a bit careful about how we go about this, I think.
Yep, I couldn't agree more, Ewan. Barney's having some technical issues. Hopefully,
it's not me. It's not me.
Sorted soon. Fucking Barney. So Ewan going right in on Barney with the technical issue. Oh, bloody hell, Barney, not again.
Oh, these amateurs who turn up on this podcast, honestly, fucking hell.
Okay, we're back on now. England 6. Iran 2. Not the most difficult opposition that England, probably the least difficult opposition England are going to face. What do you think about that game? Pretty good.
I was impressed with the way that we attacked the game. I thought it was going to be a really edgy game. I thought Iran were going to be up for it, but I was really impressed with the intensity of the game as well. The way we pressed for the ball. Bellingham, absolutely out of this world. Can't believe he's only 19 years old. I was talking to someone today, and he's like one of those old-fashioned midfielders, because midfielders now are either put in a box of a defensive midfielder or an attacking midfielder, but he had everything about his game. He's like one of those. He reminded me a bit like Bowyer. He's just box to box all the time. He can attack when he needs to. He can defend when he needs to. I was really, really, really impressed with him. Harry Maguire, again, everyone's like, why is he playing? But I think there's certain players that are shite for their teams, but really good in this England team, like Harry Maguire and Ryan and Sterling as well.
Yep. I really enjoyed that when he sort of, crashed the header onto the crossbar, and then you start hearing the fans, he drinks the vodka, he drinks the lager, his head is enormous.
I didn't know that song.
Yeah, it's good. It's enjoyable. When England play like that, I think going in, we thought, we were all thinking kind of, oh no, watching England is horrible. But credit to Southgate, he's listened. He's gone to a back four. We looked far more attacking, as you can see from the. You won't be able to see on the podcast, obviously, if you're listening. But as you can see here, there's some momentum. I mean, there's hardly anything going the other way. It was all England, absolutely all England. We completely dominated them. There were some people saying that Iran would be hard to break down, and 5-4-1. They're going to spread the players across the pitch, and it's going to be a low block. We're going to have difficulty unlocking it. There was none of that. We played brilliant, and I agree with you, Barnes. Jude Bellingham, absolute revelation. 19 years old. What? I mean, I was passing out in a gutter, literally. From drinking far too much when I was 19. Certainly not, being man of the match.
He sounds like a 30-year-old as well when he talks. It's just talks really well as well. Yeah.
Yeah, good lad. There's a lot of them though. You look at that England team now, and you think, you think back to the sort of 2006 World Cup, that golden generation. You had Rooney shagging grandmas. You had Terry racist. You had, the Chelsea and the Liverpool players couldn't get on in, behind the scenes, and then you've got these lads. Just seem like a really grounded, young lads who've come all with that sort of not being prejudiced, not being judgmental, not being tribal about who we play for, because of social media and the kind of commercial stuff that they get involved with now. And probably because a lot of them are from similar cultural backgrounds as well. I mean, I made a tweet during the game that, to all the racists that abused Rashford and Saka during the Euros, the first 5 goal scorers, there was two from Saka, one from Bellingham, one from Rashford, one from Sterling. So, 5 young black footballers scored 5 of our goals. Keeps the racists quiet, doesn't it, for now, until they miss a penalty, and then they can suddenly climb on their back and say it's because of the colour of their skin. So I think that there's that kind of shared thing as well. You look at people like Grealish and of others, Rice, they all seem rounded young lads who sort of just get on with each other. So that's a massive thing for momentum. I thought on the game, technically, I thought the thing that England did a lot better than they do normally, adventurous passes. The reason that Iran and teams like that, and we've done badly against teams like that in the past, is because we sort of think, oh, we'll just keep playing and eventually we'll break them down and the goal will come. Just be patient. You don't have to be patient. I was going to do that. You look at Bellingham's pass for the Grealish goal. It was get there, and he just played a first-time pass outside of his right foot straight into Wilson. They sort of use people's strengths really well, and like you said, the pressing was good. They did it together. They did all the pressing together. The passing was good. It was really good.
I'll see you in a second.
Yeah, I'll finish off. So I think all in all, to watch England in the first game of a World Cup, you know how many times we've watched Tunisia, England, Algeria in sort of big tournaments, you know, Switzerland in Euros and World Cups where it's like 1-1 or 1-0, we score like one. I think to go out and, you know, people were saying I'm concerned that we've conceded to a poor team like Iran. Bloody hell, look at Argentina, look at Germany, you know, you can't underestimate these guys, but I thought for large proportions of the game, we were just miles better and played some really exciting football. If you look at that, there was a few moves on the edge of the box where it's like one touch, little flick here and there. I thought we were tremendous.
The thing is, though, as well, it's a real good mixture of the squad as well. We've got some experience in there, and also getting into the final of the Euros, there's some of those players that have got that experience of tournament football as well. So I think that could be a game changer for us in this tournament.
Absolutely agree. I think you've got to have that mix as well to do well. And I think, like you say, the for all the negatives of the Euros and losing that final, you learn from that, don't you? So, yeah, it's you know, it'll do them good in the long term. So, and I thought the other thing was we might have switched off a bit because the length of the game, it was like 24 minutes. You know, extra time over 2 halves.
Martin Keown said at the French game last night, the average over extra time being played is 10 minutes. And the reason why they're doing that is because they want to play more football. So they were saying today that like a goal celebration can add 90 seconds onto a game. Another 90 onto the game. So they want to have them both in play more often. But I tweeted LUSC data about it, and I was wondering what the average extra time added on in Premier League. Because if some of these players are going to progress during the tournament, on average they're going to be playing over 100 minutes a game. They're going to be absolutely broken.
You seen the running order? Huh?
It's coming onto it.
Look at that.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you slash. That's when you go for a slash. That's what happens. We just take over.
I'll tell you what.
Got your little podcast now. You don't control. You're not the boss of us, Donny. We just talk about what we fucking want.
It was like a stream from a racehorse. I was even making the noises and everything.
Yeah, I think that might have had an impact on particularly the last goal. That just. Bloody hell, they paid for 24 minutes additional time. It was like, you know, when's this game going to end? And, you know, I'm thinking if that had have happened, you remember the first game back at Ellen Road after the lockdown when everybody could go back in, the Everton game? We'd still be playing now if they played that game now. There was that much time wasting going on. So I think it's a good thing, but to just kind of introduce it, I didn't know that was happening, that they were going to make this new regulation about playing more additional time. So it came as a bit of a shock when the referee held up 10 minutes at the first half was disrupted by the injury to the keeper. But the second half, when he pulled up 10 minutes, 11 minutes, whatever it was, I thought, Jesus, what's going on? It's the longest game in history.
Indeed, it was. Right, got to get my head back in the game now. That was an experience. All that coming out of me.
You washed your hands?
Yeah, always.
Oh, good lad.
Did my
flush the toilet?
Joachim Lover have a Joachim
stiff yourself.
Lover moment?
Canada just
Michael got in the chat, has just said Canada penalty.
Oh, really?
Wow.
They just missed it.
Have they?
Missed it. Yeah, they have, yeah.
Not another one. I need to get this on in the other window, don't I? Terrible. This is the kind of professionalism that you've come to expect from the Roaring Bulldog.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to Belgium for dodging a bullet there.
Yeah, on ball in the box. They're doing well, actually, Canada. They're playing pretty well.
68% possession, 5 shots to Belgium's 1. Well. This isn't an underdog. Canada are bossing Belgium. What's happened to Belgium's golden generation? Where's that gone?
It's like our golden generation. It's flat as to deceive. I think Paul Homeboy's just made a comment as well about Southgate, and I was going to say that. Sorry, just get back to England. I think for all the criticism of Southgate, and we've all probably given him it at times, that kind of lack of, I don't know, sort of exciting football, letting the lads go out and play to their strengths. I've got to say, in tournaments, most of the time he gets it bang on, doesn't he? You think about the tournaments we've gone to with Eric Hoddle and with others where we've struggled to get through the group or get results that we should get, if you want to say it that way. You can only play who's in front of you. And he absolutely seems to, you think about Panama, in the last World Cup, I think was that 6 or 5 or 6 in that game? 6 again. He seems to get it right in the tournaments, and ultimately that's kind of the most important thing, isn't it?
I absolutely love the bloke. I think that he gets a poor reputation. I think it's really unfair. I mean, he is the most successful coach of in my generation of watching England. Obviously, there was Bobby Robson, but other than that, there was watching Hodgson's football, which was very possessory. It was just passing for the sake of passing. There was Capello, who couldn't seem to understand what system he wanted to play and the players he had at his disposal. I just think that what Southgate's done, I know it sounds daft, but he seems to understand what England's about. And because he's been through the youth setup as well, he's seen some of these players come through the youth ranks as well. And he's got a really young squad, but a squad that's actually a really nice squad to like as well. When Grealish scored against Iran the other day, he did that celebration for that lad Nathan. I just thought it's just a really nice touch, that.
He lives in Harrogate as well.
He does. If you look at my Twitter profile picture, I've met the guy. He's a really nice guy. Really, yeah.
Yeah, Barney's got a photo with Gareth Southgate.
It's like you said though, Barney, that not only will the players learn from the Euros last year, but Southgate will have learned from all the tournaments he played in, all the disappointment, and hopefully he's applying some of that. Maybe not to qualifying games, maybe not to the Nations League, and to be honest, I couldn't care less about that. But he's applying it to tournament football, and it seems to work. We've was it World Cup semi-final, Euro final. See where we can go. When we get knocked out in the group stages in the next week, we'll revisit this, clip this shit. No, well, good on him. I think he's done a really good job in tournaments, so that's worth. It's easy to jump on people when it's not going well, and equally you should sort of say congratulate him when he's done a really good job. And it was a really exciting game to watch, wasn't it? England, it was enjoyable as well, which you can't always say.
Yep. Okay. I guess, do we have anything more to say or talk about? Or should we, final thoughts, or what should we do? It's the World Cup, isn't it?
I want to say something about commentators, man. Fucking hell. I've actually got... So on FIFA, my lad started playing the World Cup together. So we play together as England team. And we've actually turned the commentators off to South American commentators or Italian. So we turn the commentary on FIFA over to a different language. So it sounds exciting. It's probably, to a Brazilian or to a Italian, it probably is equally as boring as the FIFA commentary. But I'm going to start doing it with actual football, because Jermaine Jenas, Holmes under the Hammer Geezer, whatever he's called, he used to play for Villa, Dion Dublin.
Dion Dublin, yeah.
Fucking John Hartson, fucking Martin Keown, Lee Dixon. Yeah. It's like...
Robbie Savage.
Just pick some even more boring people if you want. And they've got nothing to say. You kind of listen to it. It does wash over you a little bit. But they're not only boring, but they're not giving you any insight into anything at all. It's just talking over football. It's absolutely lazy, and it's so boring to listen to. I thought the only guy that I've seen, and I think the Dutch guy, I've forgotten his name again. I'm no good with names, as you know by now. Too many blows to the head, but
too much blow. What?
Too many blows to the head. Sorry. Yeah, too much blow. Yeah. Both of those things. When what's his name? The guy from Robson Carnu from Wales. I thought he was really intelligent and came across really well. So they do it right sometimes, but oh my God, do they drag some fuckers out for the actual commentary? The in-studio bit's not too bad, but the commentators are absolutely appalling.
Yeah,
here's one for
you. You've got Lucy Ward, you've got Alex Scott, you've got Ian Wright, Micah Richards, Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, Roy Keane. I think they're all really good, analysts or summarizers, co-commentators.
For his sins, at least he's got an opinion, whether it's right or wrong, he sticks with his opinion. So but the commentators are just fucking awful.
Yeah.
Going on to talking about Souness, who would win a fight between Souness and Keane? I'm going Souness because he was an absolute mad bastard. In the prime, yeah.
Oh, definitely Souness. He was a filthy bastard.
But even now, I reckon he's got a bit of a side to him that he'd probably still knock Keane out quite easily.
He's from Glasgow, isn't
he? Bit of the Glasgow kiss.
Yeah. Bite your nose off, that kind of easy bite you and stuff. Yeah, hit you with
Souness has come across really well recently. He mentioned something on Sky, on Sky Sports about, I can't remember what it was, but this week he said that England or Britain isn't as a good country either. So I think he's quite aware of what's happening in the world, and you would have thought that he's because of his age, he's not aware of what's happening in the world at the moment. I know that's probably a really sweeping statement, but I think he's really aware of what's happening. I think that him challenging Keane as well, I quite liked it, and Keane didn't like it at all, which makes it even better.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So that was just my little word about commentators being boring and dull as fuck and not informative and just literally the opposite of what a commentator should be.
Yes, Karen Carney, we're looking at you.
Karen Carney was right though. We only got promoted because of COVID.
That's true. That's true.
It's been proven right since. We've got to be careful what we say about old Kaz.
Yeah. The only time we played, exceptionally well in the Premier League, there were no fans there. And Bamford. It seems to affect Bamford a lot, having no fans there. Barney loves Southgate because he looks all posh. He doesn't just look all posh, Nora. He is.
Well, I'm not posh. If you saw what I was drinking today, I'm not posh.
Yeah. The old Carling.
Don't tell anybody, he said. Shh.
Oh, did you?
Out.
Well, it didn't. I could just be joking. Could be making a joke. Now you're acting all guilty.
Just for old time's sake, I've got that out as well, lads. The old Leeds United beer opener. I was actually trying.
Does it still work?
Yeah, well, I was doing it to see if it made the noise, and I thought, no, it did make the noise after 3 bottles that I opened, so it's not going to do it there, is it?
75 quid, that?
Yeah, fucking brilliant. That and a laptop bag that no laptop can fit in because it's too small. Brilliant. Fucking God, 75
My Leeds Plus.
My Leeds Plus is just the best. It doesn't even have the logo, like a Leeds logo, and it's got My Leeds written on it. Like these at least had the Leeds badge and the MOT bit. Fucking hell, that new stuff, My Leeds, it's like, what's that? Even the children won't use it. Like, no, I'm not using that shit, Dad.
Right here, we're gonna have to go, right, because there's a Belgium game on. So final thoughts then of the World Cup and the next few, looking ahead, the next few days. Are you excited? Belgium, the now unemployed Cristiano Ronaldo.
I feel like a kid again. I feel like a kid again watching the World Cup. I mean, with everything going on, I was like, no, I don't want to watch it, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as you start watching it, you forget. Well, you don't forget about it, but you just think, right, I'm watching football, and that's what it should be all about. And I'm really enjoying watching it.
Yep. For me, the World Cup is a wonderful experience event. I've had a 50 plus year old mate telling me on Facebook that he's still got he's got the sticker book. He's got all the Panini stickers, and he's buying them every time he goes to the shop, and he's still really excited. I think it's just the place. It's the place where it's at. But we can't let hate win, and that's what this clash of cultures is about. So that's my final thought. You can't let hate win. Oh, and so please subscribe and tell people about Blood on the Sand Qatar 2022. You should be able to find it in all podcast players now. Ewan.
Just like you said, look into some of the fixtures. You've got Brazil haven't started yet. You've got a group with Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon, which is about as cultural clash as you can possibly get. You know, you've got a group that hasn't kicked off yet with Ghana, South Korea, Portugal, and Uruguay. I mean, brilliant. Some of those fixtures are so romantic. The kits, the flags. It's all that graphic kind of imagery as well that you get, the heraldry that goes with it. The clash of styles and cultures can't wait. The only negative I would say is that, you know, we talked about attendances and the lies that have been, the number of lies that have been told by Qatar, the Qatari sort of regime is just staggering. You know, the deaths that happened before as stadiums were built, the fact that beer was going to be on sale, that the rainbow flag wasn't going to be a problem, it now is, the attendances that they've lied about. You know, pretty much everything that comes out of the mouth. The thing that really got me the other day, I watched the programme about them. Have you seen the sort of carbon neutral aspect to it?
Yeah.
So they're going to be the first ever carbon neutral World Cup. Just lies. It's just like anything that they say. People are, oh, yeah. It's just absolute bullshit. It's one of the most carbon neutral. It's one of the producing World Cups ever to be hosted.
It is the most. It is the most
by quite some margin.
Yeah,
it's like they're on about being it's like 9 million tons of carbon has been fucking created because of it. I mean, it's like
11. I read
times more than just more than any other World Cup, because they've had to rebuild every stadium, which, you know, build every stadium, motorways, infrastructure, all
hotels.
Yeah, everything's been that's the thing that really pisses me off, as well as all the kind of things that we've already kind of mentioned, is the fact that they just talk shit. It's just like people are just going to fall for the lies. Things like FIFA, we're all stupid and we'll just fall for the big paycheck.
Yeah, I think we need a blood on the sand, you know, bonus episode. I think, you know, of talking about all that stuff. So that's your lot. You know, is it cheesy if I ask you if football's coming home? It's too early, isn't it? It's too early. By the way, it's coming home. The Christmas song, fantastic. Thank you. I got a bit emotional. I have to say, I got a bit emotional watching that. It brought.
It's not the best England song, though. It's not the best England song.
Well, what is?
Yeah. I mean, I know you love
New
World
Order.
Emotion.
World Emotion.
I know.
That gets me going every time.
For me, that's why I'm wearing this shirt as well. Is that was the, you know, my first World Cup is '94, and then England weren't playing, and then there was Euro '96, and that was the first time I saw England at a major tournament. So it was all of those things for me personally, and I never thought they'd do another version after '98, and they brought this one out, and it's just heartwarming and fabulous, and it's the first. It went straight on my Christmas list. Anyway. That's your lot. Come on, England!
Come on, England!
We'll see you very shortly for another incredible Roaring Bulldog podcast. That's your lot. Subscribe to Blood on the Sand. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Enjoy.
Yeah, enjoy it. And be nice.